What's going on, folks? Back at you with another episode of Gen Sports Corner for 3/17/2020. Let me get a couple more people in here. I'm on my stuff today. I'm on my grind today. I actually did my research, wrote it down, have all my notes here. Let me get a couple more people into the chat because we're going to talk about this NFL free agency, how crazy it's been, all the moves that have been going down. It's been a very interesting day, to say the least. Alright, who else we want to get in here? Yep. Alright, I think that's just about it for who I want right now. So, crazy day today in free agency. The big news, at least for me personally, is the release of one Malcom Jenkins from the Eagles, the end of an era. I think 2010 was when he was it 2010? No. Might have been Chip Kelly's first year, so let's say 2013. I think that was when Malcom got here. I remember it being one of the first signings of the Chip Kelly era, or right around that time. So, Malcom Jenkins, Kerry Williams, those guys. And who would have known 7 years from now we'd be talking about a living legend in Malcom Jenkins, what he brought to the Eagles. He got us a ring. He changed the outlook of the city and the way we view this team. And to see him go, it's a sad day, but I had a feeling it was coming. I was talking to my man Darnell about this the other day, and it just seemed like the more and more we got into March, the less and less likely it seemed that Malcom Jenkins was going to be back. He said he wasn't going to play this year on the team option if they chose to pick it up, which would have been like $9 million. I don't know exactly how much money was going to be paid for him this year, but he said, yo, give me a new deal or I'm not going to play under it. So he chose to let him go, and they went ahead and re-signed Jalen Mills. Jalen Mills signed a 1-year deal that can be worth up to $5 million, and the Eagles are reportedly moving him to safety. Maybe they use him in a hybrid role, but I believe that the logic is to move him to safety. And this is something that I actually mentioned on my past few podcasts, even on Playmakers going back to the end of the Eagles season. I brought this idea up that, look, we all know Jalen Mills has his ups and downs on the outside at cornerback. He makes some plays here and there, but he gets burnt like a piece of toast a lot. And he just doesn't have the speed to keep up with NFL caliber receivers. But one thing that I always mention, and I didn't quite understand why the Eagles didn't do this from the get-go. What's going on, Mark? I don't know why the Eagles didn't do this from the get-go. He was an excellent safety at LSU. He was drafted in the 6th or 7th round of the draft, and I mean he dropped for other off this field reasons. I mean he really he graded out as a 3rd round pick, so you had a 3rd round caliber player if he was a safety, in my opinion, but not a 3rd round caliber cornerback. And he's had the experience. He played at LSU, which is an excellent college school in terms of defensive players, and he played at a high level at safety. So I don't see why he wouldn't be successful in this scheme. You have a cheaper alternative by moving him to safety, which I thought. I wouldn't have wanted to get rid of Malcom. I would have liked to have seen Jalen Mills and Malcom Jenkins back there as a tandem, but now they're going to have to address that other spot at safety because it looks like Rodney McLeod is probably not going to be back. He's going to get his money out there on the open market. So you're going to have to figure out what you're going to do at the other safety spot. Time will tell on that one. And then some of the other, what's going on, Chris? Then some of the other big moves, you came in at the right time because um, before I get into the actual moves that were made in free agency, let's talk about this new collective bargaining agreement that was signed, I believe, today, and they just barely passed it, and it's been ratified, which is going to usher in the era of a 17 game season. They're going to add 2 playoff games, and they're going to, on the flip side, increase the piece of the pie salary wise that the players are going to get. A lot of players were against this though, because I mean, let's be honest, guys are damn near dying trying to get through a 16 game season. Why the hell would you add one more game? I know it's going to add revenue, obviously, but and I hope this doesn't go viral. But if I was a player, I would do like load maintenance like they do for the NBA. Oh, you want to add another game? Fine. I'm going to reduce my snap count for certain games. You want to play like that? Because I can't afford to go through another week of high speed collisions just because you want to make an extra buck. So if I was a player, I would take it into my own hands and maybe play 70% of the snaps or 50% of the snaps as opposed to 90% of the snaps just to kind of balance things out because that's a lot to ask of these guys. It's already a brutal enough game. So with that being said, let me know what you guys think about that. But back to the free agency stuff. And Mark, I'm going to get to your comment towards the end of the video. The big trade that happened, DeAndre Hopkins traded to the Cardinals. DeAndre Hopkins and a 2024 round pick was traded to the Cardinals. The Texans get David Johnson, a second round pick in 2020, and a fourth round pick in 2021. I don't know what your opinions are of that trade, but it just seems completely irrational. If you're a Texans fan, you traded away one of the, if not the best wide receiver in football, and a fourth round pick to get a second round pick this year and a running back that you could have waited until he hit free agency because they just applied the franchise tag to Kenyon Drake. So obviously, the Cardinals weren't going to pick up the $10 million tab for David Johnson. They would have cut him $8 to $2 million. They would cut him in eight whatever dead money they had to eat, and then he would have probably got like $3 million in the open market. Instead, you trade Nuck to the Cardinals, get David Johnson, and he's going to bring a $13 million salary along with him, which makes absolutely no sense at all. I don't know who's in the front office for the Texans, but they really need to be checked for head trauma because I don't know how you can make this deal in good conscience. You just finished making a bad move with Carlos Hyde, who was going to get cut by the Chiefs, and then you acquired him with the draft pick. I don't know what's up with that front office. I don't get it. That was a bad move to me, but maybe I'm tripping. The next big move, and the Dolphins were making a lot of noise. Byron Jones signed by the Dolphins, 5 years, $82 million, $54.5 million guaranteed, making him one of the highest, if not the highest paid cornerback in football. I would guess he's one of the highest paid cornerbacks in football. His teammate Xavier Rhodes, who plays for the Dolphins, is making $15.1 million on average yearly. And I know his deal surpasses that. So he's making, I don't know, maybe that might be $16 million, $16.4 million a year on average. It's a lot of money. So he better be their version of Stephon Gilmore up in New England. That's all I have to say. But I mean, he's going to make them better without a doubt. So they have 2 really good cornerbacks there. And then he went ahead and signed Kyle Van Noy away from the Patriots. 4 years, $51 million, $30 million guaranteed. He got paid. They get a pass rusher. I like some of the moves they're making. They're solid. They're not the best, but they're solid. So, fans are making noise. And then the Cowboys making noise, re-signing Amari Cooper, 5 years, $100 million. That man got paid, average of $20 million per year annually. He got paid the money. I don't know if he's $20 million a year good, but he got it. I wouldn't have went to see the Eagles spend that type of money on Byron Jones or Amari Cooper. So, good for them. Um, we'll see that money used elsewhere. I'm going to mention who they signed in a second, but briefly before that, the Raiders have been making some news. They signed Marcus Mariota to a 1 or 2 year deal, something like that. So he'll be, at least in my estimation, backing up Derek Carr, pushing him for the starting position. I don't think that he's going to take the starting position from Derek Carr, but he's a good insurance policy. And I think that he's going to work well and learn well under John Gruden. John Gruden's going to get the most out of him. So I think that was a very good move because we didn't really have a backup quarterback if Derek were to go down. So it's an excellent move. And then to the Eagles, lastly, we took some of that money that we didn't spend on Byron Jones and Amari, and we signed Javon Hargrave, formerly of the Pittsburgh Steelers, nose tackle, 3 years, $39 million, $26 million guaranteed. So pretty much guaranteeing 2 years out of that 3 year deal. Average of $13 million per year. The Eagles now have three of the top six 4-3 defensive tackles. Three of the top six highest paid 4-3 defensive tackles in the league are on the Eagles. They have invested a lot of money into the defensive tackle position. Hell, let alone the defensive line position in general. We've sunk all our money, well, a lot of our money so far into both sides of the trenches, which is smart, which is fine. But Hargrave was a 3-4 nose tackle. He was a gap eater. Lines up over the center, tries to eat up blocks, two blockers at a time. That's what his purpose was in that 3-4. That's what your purpose is as a nose tackle. He's not going to play that here because Jim Schwartz, he runs the system he runs. He's not going to necessarily adjust it to play towards Hargrave's strength, or at least what he's been used to playing over the past 3 or 4 years in Pittsburgh. But looking into him and kind of like studying what he's about and what he brings to the table, I like the signing. You had $50 million to spend. Now you're down to about $37 million. You have enough money to sign another big name free agent if you so choose. And this guy, he brings you a lot of leverage. He's able to engage the block very well. He's a short, kind of like stubby type of defensive tackle, 6'2", 305. But he has really good leverage, really low center of gravity, and he can engage a block and block shit like a monster. So it's going to be really interesting to see all the different rotations that they have with Fletcher Cox and Malik Jackson and Hargrave, and then you have Barnett and Graham. See, it does give them a little bit of versatility now because they can slide Malik Jackson out to be an edge rusher when they want to spell Brandon Graham here or there, or if they want to have Fletcher Cox and Hargrave and Jackson on the field at the same time. They have a lot of different options. And then they just re-signed, Hassan Ridgeway to a 1 year deal. So that gives them added depth at D tackle. So now they've really addressed that position where they just completely got destroyed last year with the injuries. So now you have 3 starting caliber defensive tackles and then a really good backup in Hassan Ridgeway. And then you have Brandon Graham, obviously, at left end, and Derek Barnett at right end. I really like what they did there. We don't know what's going to go on with Clowney. Now, I'll tell you this much. They have holes at strong safety. They have a hole at cornerback. But if they sign Jadeveon Clowney and added that to this rotation, watch out, man. Watch out. That would be out of left field. That would be unexpected that they would sink that much money into the defensive line. I don't necessarily see them doing that, but if that was something that was percolating behind the scenes, that would be pretty damn exciting and just outside of the box type thinking. So we'll see what happens there. Now to Mark and what you brought up, we're in trouble and we kept McLeod for two and we kept McLeod for 2 more years. Okay, so we're gonna have McLeod and Jalen Mills. I'm obviously I would want to have Malcolm Jenkins over Jalen Mills, but I believe that Jalen Mills, and I've made this argument before, that Jalen Mills is going to be a more than serviceable and capable safety because I've seen him do that at LSU. He's going to be a really good safety, and he's only going to get better from this point on. I think that is I I would have kept Jenkins over McLeod, but I'm fine with Mills and McLeod as opposed to Mills and Jenkins, if that makes sense. I would rather have Mills and Jenkins at safety, but I'm fine with Jalen Mills and Roddy McLeod because I really feel as though Jalen Mills, his strength is going to be roaming around in center field, not having to cover receivers one on one on the outside. And he's an excellent tackler. If anything, he's one of the best tackling cornerbacks in the league. He just can't freaking cover, which is why it's a great idea to put him at safety, someplace that he had a hell of a lot of success at in college at one of the top programs, a program that's known largely big time for their defense. Alongside Alabama and Clemson and those big powerhouses there. So I mean, that's kind of my thoughts on Jalen Mills and how confident I am in that or whatnot. But I think that's pretty much it for now. Those are the things that I wanted to talk about. We're still going through this whole situation with sports being shut down, but it's nice being able to talk about these things. And who the hell knows? On the last note, where the hell Tom Brady's going to? But like I said, I personally, my dark horse team is the LA Chargers. Great situation. It's a tough division, don't get me wrong. But you put Tom Brady with that offense, and they have a pretty good defense, mind you. Like, they're underrated on defense. You put him with those weapons, they can bring some serious heat in that division against the Chiefs. And as a Raiders fan, I already have enough to worry about with the Chiefs and their ability and potential to be perennial contenders for the next 5-6 years. The last thing I want to see is Tom Brady coming to the AFC West, but that might be one of the best situations for him as opposed to going to Tampa Bay because they're not really built to really contend at a serious level like the Chargers can. So that's my last thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. Happy St. Patty's Day. You see the swag. You see how I'm doing it right now. I'm a humble guy, but this hat may not. Anyways, I'm a humble guy, but the hat's loud. That being said, leave your questions, comments, concerns in the comment section below, and be safe tonight, y'all. Peace.